with Beth and Stacy. I'm Beth Cooper.
And I am Stacy Earlywine.
Today we are looking snazzy, folks. We are looking so good because look at this hat. Isn't it fabulous?
I love that hat.
Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about the good old days back in Sailor Springs.
Yes, we are. Sailor Springs, the booming utopia of Southern Illinois is what I'd call it.
Mm-hmm. I would say the same.
Fascinating. We can go on. We will probably be hitting on Sailor Springs a lot.
Yes, there was a lot happening there.
Oh, my gosh.
But before we jump into all that, if this is the first time that you're joining us, Stacy and I love to talk about history. We love to talk about old things and nostalgic things about Clay County. And so we each week pick a different subject. And on this episode, we're going to talk about Sailor Springs, Illinois.
Yes, we are. We're going to focus on that beautiful Glendale Hotel.
Yes, it was a big place.
It was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. Well, before we get into
much to get into.
Oh, there is so much. But before we do that, let's talk about what we usually start our show off with.
Well, as you know, we start off with our handy-dandy Better Homes and Gardens magazine.
Right. That's right.
And this cover today is from January 1958. We'll just hold it, prop it up right there. She is. Look how cute this is.
Let's see if we can zoom in on
Let's see if we can zoom in on this, guy.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, I'm getting so good at this.
Yes.
We talked to, you know what? I never noticed the ceiling before, Beth.
Oh, yeah. I like the ceiling.
Right?
With the exposed beams.
Yes.
And look at that light fixture.
You know, I know. I don't, guys, 58, so things are starting to change a little bit. You know, some of the Better Homes and Gardens we have is like from the 40s and stuff like that. This might be one of the older ones I have. I have a bunch of them, but yeah. So I mean, it's just fascinating. So we're knocking on the 60s.
Yeah, I love her couch with the little ruffle along the bottom.
Oh, I'd never even noticed the ruffle before.
Yeah, that's super cute.
Yeah, isn't that something else? Those gold the curtains match the wallpaper. Look at that wallpaper. It almost looks like the wallpaper is checkered a little bit.
Or is it a painted brick wall?
I don't know. You got the brick.
Oh, no, I see it better. Yeah, I think it's like a gingham.
Yeah.
Yellow gingham wallpaper.
Yeah, and what's this hanging right there?
Is that something to fan the fire with?
Maybe. There's a clock up there, and the kids, of course, are so well behaved, and little Susie and Johnny are roasted marshmallows, and Mom's got their apples.
Oh, they got hot dogs too.
They do have hot dogs, yeah.
Yeah. They're going to have hot dogs and apples for supper.
And don't forget those beautiful olives in that
and
bottom.
And the olives, yes. Yeah.
You know, but I just came across something, though, here real quick. Okay. So I told you that I had, I bought all these Better Homes and Gardens at an auction. And apparently the lady, I just turned it upside down just a little bit ago, who bought this magazine was Mrs. Frank Klingler from Wakefield, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That might be somebody's grandmother out there.
Right. How neat is that? I was just flipping through here just a little bit ago, and it was like...
She had a subscription. It came to her in the mail.
It absolutely did. I never did notice this. Does your house live up to 1958?
No, it does not. Mine does not.
Listen to this. These are some of the topics that are in the magazine. Men gardeners of Minneapolis. Hometown pride makes a city beautiful.
Oh,
ooh,
nice.
Oh, okay. I don't understand. How to shop a meat counter.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Can I read that article later?
Yeah.
Because I get confused by all the different cuts of meat. Like you walk up there and you're like, well, this is this and this is that. And I'm like, I know that you're saying that is a sirloin. But if I'm not just going to grill a sirloin, like what else do I do with it?
Okay. Oh, yeah. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing is, Alice on the Brady Bunch.
Yes.
Who was her boyfriend that was the butcher?
Oh, man.
Oh, it just hit me. I don't know, but we need him. Because the days of literally going up, and I remember Andy's Meat Market. You would go, and everything would be like, I guess you get it at Salt and Strings.
Yeah, Salt and Strings
Salt
is
and
like
Strings
that.
still has that now, but I love that. But I'm getting confused because it's like, what is all this? What do you do with this meat other than that? So that's kind of
I don't know. What are you going to show us today in that magazine?
Okay, wait a minute. I've got to touch just a couple more things.
Tell me.
This is interesting. Does mother's smoking harm the unborn baby? A doctor says yes.
Oh, well, that doctor would be right.
That doctor would be right.
I think that's been proven over the years. Mamas don't smoke.
Yeah. 1958,
goodness.
they were still pondering that.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to...
And everyone was smoking in the 40s and
Oh,
the 50s.
yeah.
So
My mother smoked with all of us. Look what happened. Yeah, it was just one of those things. They just didn't... Well, you remember the cigarette ads and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. Marlboro Man.
Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this picture, Beth. You've got it on that.
I've got it on here. Okay, is it this one?
Nope. There
we
she
go.
is.
Okay.
Look at her. She almost makes me sick. That lady is almost making me want to puke. Look how perfect she is.
She is so perfect. And whoever designed that shot, man, they were really into color coordinating their shots back in the 50s. I mean, she's got her towel over there that matches the paint color, which matches her shoe color.
Which matches the wall.
Which matches her headband, which matches her outfit.
And even the photo. I mean, you guys can't see it, but it is the record that she's got up there has got the blue in it, and it's Bushkin Berlin. I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, I'm seeing something in this that I did not see before.
Oh, my goodness, I just noticed something, too. What'd you notice?
The cat.
The cat! Yeah.
I did not notice that before. And how did they get the cat to look right at the camera? This is prior to Photoshop. They couldn't have Photoshopped him in.
Oh, yeah, how the cat's awesome.
They must have made a really cool noise right at the right moment, and the cat looked up.
So, just by looking at the picture, because I didn't take it on both sides, what do you think she's advertising? Do you think she's advertising music? Do you think she's advertising
Well, I'll tell you.
kittens? What do you think?
When I first saw, all I saw was the photo. That's all I had. I thought she was advertising records or a record player. Mm-hmm. That's what I expected this ad to be for.
You know what this ad is for?
Tell me.
Follow the music for a fine figure. She's exercising.
Oh. Okay.
Here's a health program every woman can follow and enjoy in her own home.
Okay.
Elizabeth Arden cooperated with Better Homes and Garden in presenting these exercises.
That's Elizabeth Arden from the makeup line?
That's what it says.
Well, paint my front door red.
Exactly. I love her red lipstick, too.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Elizabeth Arden down there. She is getting energized, and it says, take this energizing and pleasant tonic daily with music. Result a trimmer figure, a younger, more glamorous you.
Wait, there's a tonic involved?
I don't know. I don't see the tonic. All I see is the cat.
Okay.
The tonic back in 58 was probably vodka. I'm going to go.
And now we know why she's so happy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, crack up.
Yeah, but isn't that, I think
that's fantastic.
That is great. And I just came across, I thought, what an unusual ad. And I got to read it, and I'm like, holy cow, she is advertising, working exercising on the floor.
I wonder how many of those 50s housewives did the exercise routines at home.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, because like I said, but now you see all this Pilates at home and everything, wall Pilates and things you can do sitting in your chair as long as you're moving. Everything's good.
Well, my great aunt had a historic home, and in her basement she had this exercise machine, and I'm betting it's from the 50s, and I don't know. Looking back on it now as an adult, I'm kind of like, how did that even work? And I don't know that it did.
I have a feeling I know what
it had a belt on it. Do you know what I'm going to say? Yes.
My granny had one.
You didn't have to do anything but stand there.
You just stand up on it.
You stand up, and you were kind of on this platform thing, and this belt went around you. And then you turned it on, and just
oh, it shook you to death. Your teeth would chatter.
Yeah.
I think all it did was break all my fat loose.
Yeah, I don't know what that machine was called, and I don't know.
I don't know either, but my granny had one in the basement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, apparently if you own one, that's where you were supposed to keep it.
My granny had it down in her basement over there in Clay City on the hill. And, me and my cousin Buffy, we go down there and we just play on that thing and just shake you to death.
Yes, I can remember getting on my Aunt Evie's, too, and just standing there and letting it just, I'm like, what is it? What is this?
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's.
But that's my kind of working out.
Oh yeah, we're
just stand there.
Okay, so
Maybe
do you remember?
Buy one.
Do you remember the beds that you just lay on, and then they'd move your? Who had those beds in town? It almost like you just lay there, you push a button, and then it would raise your legs. It would do your sit-ups for. All you had to do was do some resistance.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah. No, I don't remember that. It was like an exercise bed, but
yeah, and then you just lay out there, and then the arm thing would do your arm. It did the work for you. All you had to do was just kind of have a little resistance on it.
Bring that back, please. Why is that gone to the wayside?
I don't know.
That sounds awesome.
It needs to come back.
We should bring it back.
Well, how many more irons can we have in our fire?
I don't know. Our fire's getting pretty big.
But we like a big fire.
Yes.
So today we are going to the grand old days of Sailor Springs, Illinois. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's my family stomping ground. Okay. My grandfather, Roy Franklin, was raised in Sailor Springs, and my grandmother, Doris Franklin, she was a Hunley from that area. She was lived between Clay City and Sailor Springs, and you want to talk about a booming place. From everything that, from my account, like the railroad that's in Chicago could have possibly been in Sailor. We could have been little Chicago right now, right? Because there was a fight between Chicago getting the railroad in and Sailor Springs.
And Sailor Springs didn't get it, and the town ended up becoming a ghost town. But in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that happened.
Oh, me too.
I mean, I hate that it became a ghost town. I wish it would have had success as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm really glad we're not Chicago right now.
Oh, me too. I would not.
Because I like my small town life.
I like my small town life too, and I don't think I could handle all the traffic.
But I guess if that's all we ever knew, we wouldn't know any different.
That's true.
But
that is true. You know, some people love that city life, and I'm not a real big fan. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So, like I said earlier, when we first started out, you know, we're going to touch a lot on Sailor Springs. There's a lot of history there, but of course, the first thing we want to touch on is the Glendale Hotel. We'll jump into that. But Beth, you want to tell them where they can watch us on our program?
Absolutely. So we're available on Channel 100 on Wabash Communications, and we're also available on YouTube. And our YouTube channel is called By the Way with Beth and Stacy, and that may be where you're watching right now. But you can always find us by just typing in By the Way with Beth and Stacy is EY at the end. On your YouTube. And also, we have an email, bethandstacy@gmail.com, or by the way, with bethandstacy@gmail.com. Sorry about that. And you can email us anytime. Send us a note, ask us a question, or comment on one of our previous shows, or even give us an idea for a future episode.
Oh, we would love to. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
I had a lady stop me in Walmart the other day, and she said, aren't you a TV star? And I said, well, only in my own mind I am. And she said, where did you come up with By the Way? It's like, well, by the way, this is what happened. Yeah. By the way,
by the way, let us tell you a little bit about the history of where you live.
Yeah, and it's just kind of catchy.
Or where you're from.
So we're excited about doing it. We love doing it. We both love history. We love people. We love old things. We love auctions. We have so much in common. It's not even funny.
Right. We do.
But I am really excited about diving in.
Yes.
To Sailor Springs.
I don't think most people even have an idea. I mean, we're talking about a little bitty ghost town right now, but back in the day, it was glamour.
And after our commercial break, we're going to nail it.
Okay, we'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting, and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacy. I'm Beth.
I am Stacy. Let's just jump right into our Sailor Springs platform
let's
today.
talk about it.
Yes, so Sailor Springs.
Where is it?
Sailor Springs is north of Clay City.
Okay, just for those that don't know.
Yes, and that would
Clay
be
County.
The Clay County, the Dietrich Blacktop, it kind of corners the Dietrich Blacktop, and then of course it seems like everything's like Dietrich Blacktop, Clay City Blacktop, you know. So it's up in that area. It was a booming metropolis, but the first people that were in Sailor Springs was the Indians, and they were the Kickapoo tribe. They were part of the Algonquin North American tribe.
Okay.
So they were settled in the land of Sailor Springs.
Okay.
I do not know what the original name of that was. I don't really think it was named till the sailors came into town.
Yeah,
Do you have anything on?
I don't know. I think I did read what some people called it, but I didn't write it down because it wasn't a actual given name. I don't think.
I don't think it was really named till Thomas Sailor and his wife came into town.
Interesting thing about the Native Americans. They would take the spring water. Did you know this?
I don't know.
And boil it and get the remnants of what came out of it. So this spring water that's still there today is full of nutrients and full of, I have a list here of everything that's in it. We'll talk about that in a minute, but they would boil it over fire and then it would, at the bottom of the pan, leave some stuff that they boiled out of it. They used that. Their medicine men, the Native American medicine men, used that as their medicine.
Yes.
And they healed their sick.
They healed their sick with that. And from what I understand, a lot of the mud. The mud was
because
rich
it was
with nutrients because it sat there, and so the Indians
Mud
settled
baths.
that land, and they made mud baths, and they said it had healing powers.
Very smart people.
Very smart. Well, so then the next thing you know, you have the white settlers come in. So the white settlers start coming into Sailor Springs, and
The very first white settler, his name was Ditter, and he bought the very first tract of land in Clay County. That is where Sailor Springs is. He was the first white person to own that. I don't think he owned it very long.
Yeah. Well, they thought they did not. So from what I read, like their animals would drink the spring water and they would get sick.
They thought it was from that.
They thought it was from that. They called it milk sick.
Yes. So then anywhere that the springs came up, they sectioned that off, put fences up so their animals could not get anywhere near it. They blamed the spring water when in fact it was a weed.
Poisonous snake root.
Yes, it was growing all around that area. That's what was killing their
That's what was
animals.
making everybody sick. So they didn't believe the Native Americans.
So yes,
They were like, you guys, you don't know what you're doing. This thing is bad. So like Beth said, they put fences around so the animals couldn't get to it.
and the Native Americans even tried to help the original settlers and said, drink this, you know, and they were like, not happening. Shunned it completely.
Yeah, so it wasn't
mistake.
that. It was the poisonous snake root. So now we're talking 1869.
Okay, we're moving up a little
We
ways.
are moving up a little bit. So we got white settlers in there. We have Indians in there. The Indians are using it for healing. The white settlers are like, no, we're going to block it off because we think that it's poisonous and all this stuff. So then in 1869, Mr. Thomas M. Sailor from Ohio comes into town, and he buys 400 acres of the springs.
Okay, well, my research shows that it was actually his wife, Mrs.
Sailor.
Thomas Sailor. She exchanged some land that she had up north. So it's a little bit of a trade.
Oh, I didn't know about the north land. Cool.
She traded somebody for some land that she already owned up north.
What was
and
her
then
name?
she sent her Mrs. Thomas Sailor.
Mrs.
That was her name back then because women didn't get to go by their actual names.
You know, we've touched on a lot of really strong women in some of our last year. Yeah, I've got Mrs. Thomas M. Sailor and I got Mr. above my notes, but they came from Ohio. So she traded, huh?
She did some trading, yes, and her husband, he must have been a great guy because he wasn't trying to take it over, and he let her do that. And so then she sent her husband down here to visit the land, and he tested the water because
he thought that the people that were settling there were crazy.
he didn't believe the whole milk sick thing.
No, he
and
didn't
maybe
believe
you know what? Maybe he recognized that plant as poisonous.
Well, he may
and
have.
was like, you guys, you
Because
sure it's not
what
this
is his-
weed over here? Because it could totally be that big, tall, green thing growing.
Because
right there by the
I don't really know what the sailors, what their background was in. What his,
I don't know either.
What his background? I just found a short little bit, and I found a picture of him, but I didn't bring the picture in because it was so blurry.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
So he comes in and he tests that water, and come to find out, it is loaded with minerals, sodium,
Yep.
magnesium,
Yep.
carbon acid, and salt. It's just got
Yeah. Potassium, calcium, iron, chlorine, and sulfuric and carbonic acid.
yes. How interesting is that? So he's like, so I'm tearing them.
These are good things,
These are
people,
good
not bad
things.
things. These are things your body needs, which is good that he recognized that, like kind of in the early 1860s or 1869 to
when I
early
got him
1870s.
coming into town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's kind of crazy.
That's pretty good. So, 1870s, like this is the time of Little House on the Prairie. This is when this is set. You got Laura Ingalls out there in the West, and you got Mrs. Thomas Saylor in Sailor Springs, all around that same time.
I wish we knew what her name was.
Kind of wondering, did they dress like in the prairie dresses? Is that? I mean, I
bet
would get
she
they
was-
did.
I bet she was grand. I bet, though.
You think she was
I bet these
lovely?
guys
She was
were-
probably rich. She
I would
owned
think
land.
they would
Yeah,
be.
she
She-
probably wouldn't. You're right. She probably wouldn't have been in a prairie
And it
dress.
would have been interesting, to know the history of the land that she had up north. How far up north were we talking?
I don't know. That might have been somewhere in there, but I didn't see it.
Well, we can dive into that. We can always find a little bit extra research.
Yeah.
So now we've got the sailors. They have moved into town, and they are knocking down.
They own a bunch
They own
of
a
it.
bunch of land, 400 acres.
And if you buy a bunch of land and it's the early 1800 or late 1800s and you don't have a town already named there, what do?
They're going to name it Sailor, and why would you name it Springs? Because it's spring water.
And for those of you that don't know, it's not just like one spring. Like these springs pop up
They're
in the
all
whole like almost in every yard. There's
Almost
like
in every yard.
there's a spring.
Yes.
What do you call that? Like an entrance or a spring? It's coming up.
Yeah, it's just literally coming up. And some people in Sailor Springs have made ornate. You should just go drive through Sailor Springs because you can see some of them. We did take a picture of one, but we didn't go up and ask if we could do it, so we didn't show that picture. But if you drive around Sailor Springs, you'll see them. My grandfather, Roy Franklin, his parents was Baldy. Yes, my great-grandfather's name was Baldy.
Oh, my.
Baldy and Josephine Franklin. And my grandfather farmed. My great-grandfather farmed. And they lived out in the country. Then after he passed away, my grandfather, Roy Franklin, who was an oil man, he ended up buying a homestead there in Sailor Springs, and we actually had a spring in the backyard.
Oh,
So
cool.
he bought a house for his mother. He had several brothers and sisters. He had several siblings, but then he had a brother, Malbert, who lived to be 101 years old and just died a few years ago.
Oh, man,
And
I
so
would like
Malbert
to
lived
talk
in
to
that
him.
house, and we had the springs back there. My grandfather was notorious for taking. I have 9 or how many? I can't do math. I have a few cousins, but Buffy Smith and Kat Key from Chicago, and then my cousin Chad Franklin. We were all kind of within 2 years of each other, and we would go visit my granny and grandpa every weekend, every Sunday, and grandpa would load us up in his Cadillac, and we would drive to Sailor Springs, hit that, and we'd drink
fun.
that water.
Yeah.
My grandfather drank it right out of the spigot because he had made a.
I wondered if you could do that. It has some
He
people
did.
say it has a little bit of a smell to it.
It does. It's very.
I
It smells very
didn't notice it too
sulfury.
much when I was there, but
Yeah, I mean, but we would, and we drank it. I think that's why my immune system's so good because we
good.
drank it. My sister Diane Hemphill, she still goes over to this day and will get spring water out of that spring. Unfortunately, that ground was sold and it's not in our family anymore. And somebody else owns it, and they tore down the house, and they may have even dared to say covered up that spring that was in the Franklin family. But there are other springs you can go to. But yeah, we totally, he lived by it. We went up there, and he come home. I remember my grandpa had jugs of that stuff sitting around, and all the minerals and stuff would fall to the bottom.
Oh, my.
And then that water was just as clear as you buying bottled water at Huck's.
Yeah.
And everything would just fall at the bottom, and then he would just siphon that top out, and we drank that baby like you never seen it before. We loved it.
Oh, I bet. Wow, that's really cool.
It is really, yeah, it's a really neat history
Okay.
there. So anyway, back to the sailors. So now word is getting out, okay? So word is going to start getting out that we have these healing springs there in Clay County, Illinois. So people are starting to come, people who are sick. So
They started advertising
They
it.
started
The sailors
advertising it.
in several well-known publications. It said that you could come get healthy here.
And the beautiful thing about that, Sailor Spring was just full of woods and wildflowers. And they said that the scent in the springtime was just magnificent, very sweet. So it was lush and it was green and it had wildflowers and it was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, saying that about the wildflowers, I thought you were going to say wildlife. I did read one thing about how in the early 1800s there was a lot of hunting going on there by the early settlers. And there was one guy, and he had a diary, and he wrote he killed 3 cougars in one day.
Cougars?
Yeah. There was catamount, which basically I've seen a catamount picture. It's the same. It looks the same as a cougar, but they identified them separately. Catamounts, cougars, bobcats, bear. He had hunted several bear right in Sailor Springs.
Wow.
And tons of deer. He went on and on about the amount of deer.
Really?
So you don't think about those predator species being here.
Well, you hear people talk about cougars today, but
Yeah, I
not
do
back
think
in
they're
the
kinda starting
What
to.
year?
This was in I wrote down early 1800s that
Really?
these were being hunted when that guy had his notes on it.
That is very fascinating.
And, back then there wasn't any, rules about how many things you could kill in a day. Now you have to have
Speaking
a...
of,
Yes,
is
look
a
at that
real-
lovely fur.
This is a real. I mean, don't anybody get mad at me, but I bought this at an auction. I can't remember where I got this, but yeah, this is a fox.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's something they would have worn back then, and it would have been,
very rich.
very rich.
Very rich.
And that's who was traveling to these hotels to
Yeah,
get healthy, was
people
the
that
very...
look like us,
the
Beth and
very
I.
rich and the glamorous. They were traveling because they had the money,
Yes.
and they needed to get healthier,
And
and
they
so
needed
they
to
would
get healthy.
travel to these hotels and these springs.
To the springs. They're coming. There's not even a hotel or nothing built yet at this moment. People are literally coming and they're pitching up tents.
Oh, really?
Yes, first it was like a tent city because
Okay.
like the hotel hasn't been built, so now people are flooding into the springs.
Oh, wow.
Which pushes the Indians out. So now the Indians are leaving once all these people.
Sure.
When
I wondered what.
when you think of rich and privileged and fancy, you think of Beth and I. Look at.
Don't know about that one.
But so now we've just got tents popping up, and people are literally coming and coming to be healed. And we are going to really dive in and show you some fascinating pictures of the springs and what they've done, and a little story of what Beth and I did the other day.
Yeah, but first, is it time for our commercial break?
Honey, we are going to a commercial break in 5 seconds. So
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we'll be right back. Thank you.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you could be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacy. I'm Beth.
And I am Stacy, and we are talking about the glory days of the Glendale Hotel in Sailor Springs.
That's right.
So we are to the point now where Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Sailor have discovered Sailor Springs.
Yes.
The springs have healing powers, and so people are now moving in to
They're
the
flocking.
spring. They are flocking. Beth, let's pull up a picture. So now we've got all these springs. They're all over the place, and they're still there in Sailor Springs. So let's show a picture of so what they started doing is building. I would call them like a gazebo type thing. So they're building these gazebos with benches around the actual springs.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
Let's see what
there we go. Yes.
There it is. So look at this picture, guys. Okay. That little building is the hotel in the back, but this is just, how many pictures did we send of these? Just one?
We've got several. I think maybe 2 or 3.
Okay, so let's look at this picture. So there's a pathway now because people are coming, they're setting up tents, and they're coming and they are drinking this spring water.
And the spring is coming up right in the center of that gazebo.
Yes, it's flush on the ground, and it literally just looks like water coming up from the ground. But by this time now they're putting concrete around it, so it almost looks like a fountain that's just literally coming out of the ground.
Right, that way it's not all mud around it.
It's not mud.
You can a lot of them are steps down into the ground, so you could actually step down in there and almost sit, or at least put your feet in.
Yeah, so
some of them I think were even bigger. But take note of this sidewalk right here, okay?
Yeah,
put that in your memory, because you're going to see in a later picture how that sidewalk looks today. I mean, notice how those bricks are not just horizontal; they're angled.
Oh, they are angled in there beautifully.
They're almost at a. It's almost like a zigzag pattern.
Yeah, you're right.
Whoever was the mason there was talented.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so just take note on that.
Take note of that, and let's go find another one. Let's find another picture.
Well, let's see.
Let's see if we got another picture. What's this one? Ooh, look at this one. So now we have stairs coming down because there's a low part. Beth, is this where we think we were at yesterday?
Yes. So there are.
See the benches sitting around?
Yes, there is a couple of the spring. There were 2 main springs, first of all, at the springs that the hotel owned. One was called the gas springs, and the other one was called the catatonic springs. I think this one is maybe the catatonic springs.
I think the one we just saw the picture prior with the brick was the gas springs.
Okay, and if you'll notice the archways kind of around that gazebo, I don't know that it shows up in anything I took a picture of or not, but there's a few of those archways still standing, just a couple, and there's no roof or anything.
It's just gone.
Most of it's gone, but it was on a piece of land that was very hilly, where there could have easily been some stairs leading up into the side of the hill.
Yeah, because I think this is the picture, because it sure does look like the pillars and stuff that we took. We'll show you the picture here. So now these are starting to come up. And Beth, let's go to the picture. Let's see if we can find the picture of what we took yesterday.
Okay.
This is where the Glendale Hotel used to stand. So let's go back and find the picture. Remember the picture you said, Stacy, get out of the picture. I don't want you in it.
Yeah, I don't know that one turned out.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we have that one on here.
Okay.
But this one kind of shows the area we're talking about where the catatonic springs is on the right side of your screen, back in those trees. And it's hard to tell because I didn't zoom in, but some of those trees are actually the arch posts from this gazebo.
Yes, and that spring is still coming up. Yeah.
And then on the left side of this photo, you can't really tell either, but in those trees is a partial building that still stands, and that was part of the hotel. That was where the boilers were, in the boiler room. So this whole piece of farm ground here was once, it looks plain and boring now, but let me tell you.
At one time, it was up and running. Now,
Look at that.
Look at this. So here we go. So what happens next? Okay, that is the Glendale Hotel. So where we're at now is people are coming in. We have the beautiful gazebos built. We have people sitting up tents. So along comes in 1878 comes a man by the name of Daniel T. Short.
Okay.
And Daniel Short comes from Tennessee. Okay. He was highly, highly educated. And his background was in hotel management.
Okay.
Okay. So he comes from Tennessee. He's in hotel management. He's hearing about all these healing powers in Sailor Springs. He is actually operates 2 hotels. One was in Ashley, Illinois.
Okay.
And the other one was in Fairfield, Illinois. So we've got Daniel Short there.
Okay.
He starts hearing about the sailors in Sailor Springs and the beautiful spring water. So he comes and he's sick. Okay, so he's ailing. Okay. He has stomach issues.
Okay.
So this Daniel hears about the spring water in Sailor Springs, and he comes and he brings his tent, and he sets up, and then he's hearing about this. He is healed. He is healed from all of his problems. I mean, they said it healed anything. It cured everything from nervousness, rheumatoid arthritis, stomach, constipation. You name it, people were brought from everywhere to this place. So this man's like, we need a hotel here. So you've got Daniel Short teams up with Mr. and Mrs. Sailor, and bida bada boom, the Glendale Hotel is built.
And it's huge.
Let's go back to that picture of the Glendale again.
Let's see, not that one.
Not that one.
It's this one.
I think did we send 2 pictures of this?
We also have this one.
Woo, look at that.
I really like this one. It's a better picture.
It is a good picture. So we got the balconies, the veranda. And so this hotel, now this is one of 2 hotels that sprung up. You had the Glendale that sprung up, and it had 50 rooms in it. Okay. There was 2 other hotels. One of them I know was called the Amusement Hotel. We don't have pictures of that. That's very hard to find pictures of the Amusement Hotel. But right now we're focusing on the Glendale because this thing was spectacular.
It really was.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, just and always full of people, and they would have orchestras that would come, so much entertainment. I don't know, you may be getting to that, but people from St. Louis would come out.
Oh, they traveled from everywhere to this place. Sailor Springs had a college.
Okay.
Had their own schools, great schools. They had these 3 beautiful hotels, which I think we'll try to dive into.
They had several doctors.
It was a booming metropolis.
There was a dentist.
Oh, we went to the dentist house.
Yeah, the dentist house or office or whatever it was is actually one of the buildings that's still standing. It's in the woods and it's really falling apart, but it's still there.
Yeah. So this hotel had tennis and croquet courts, swings and hammocks. It had a grand ballroom, a spacious dining room, and we've got a picture of the dining room.
Of the dining room. Let me find it. Here we go.
And they had a chef that came out of Chicago.
Oh,
a
fancy.
chef that came to Chicago, and that's the inside of the dining room.
So pretty. Look at that. I think it looks like it has a floral carpet. You think?
Oh, I think it does, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looks beautiful.
Fireplace in the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's probably just a tiny piece of this because, like I said, it had 50 rooms in it.
And honestly, I'm a big Little House on the Prairie fan, but it does remind me a little bit of the dining room at the hotel where Ma and Pa worked for a while on those episodes.
Was that Nellie's?
Yeah, Nellie's.
Nellie's?
Yeah. It was Caroline's for just a short time. Do you remember that? There was an episode where she got
that's right, it was. Yeah. Did it become Caroline's after Mrs. Olsen kicked Nellie out?
Maybe it did. Maybe Caroline bought it after Nellie got married and moved away. That might have been it.
But what I loved, and it had an orchestra. Okay, and there was a gentleman that came from St. Louis, and he ran the orchestra. And correct me if I'm wrong, but was he not the dentist? Can you remember? We went over and visited.
I think that is right.
Yes, the dentist was actually played the violin, and he.
That is right, and he's who brought them here. Yeah, Linda Davidson knows all things about Sailor Springs, and she told us this story.
Yes,
she had researched that. Yeah,
but I want to talk a little bit about that ballroom. So just picture this:
Okay.
Sicily. No.
Okay.
Picture this, Sailor Springs, and we're talking 1879 is when this hotel was built. So I'm picturing this grand ballroom, and I'm picturing these singers, and I'm picturing the orchestra, and let's just play a little bit of what the music would have been like back then, Beth.
Okay.
Let's see. This is what we would have been hearing.
Is this it?
Or is it music right there?
It's not wanting to play.
It might be playing. Maybe we're just on mute. Well, we may have to edit that in. It played earlier, didn't it? Well, we picked up a cute little song from 1950, and it was called When I Was 21 and You Were 16.
Yes. Oh, here. I bet it's this one. I hit the wrong button. How about that?
Let's see if it's that.
Not playing either.
Not playing any of our music.
Bummer. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll have Jansen.
Yeah.
Our
maybe she can
handy
edit.
dandy producer will put that in.
Yeah,
for
maybe
us,
she can.
So you can hear that, because you just picture that. I mean, it's just absolutely
Lovely music as they would have played on the
Oh yeah, so it's just old
on the
and it's
veranda.
wonderful. Yes, on the veranda that we love to talk about so much. But yeah, so we're talking this place was a happening place, and it was literally called. The advertisement was for health and recreation.
Okay, for health and recreation.
So so you're talking, and who knows how much it cost to actually
to stay
build
there? Or to build it,
to
okay.
stay there. You know what the rates were?
No, tell me how much
Oh boy, $10 to $16 per week.
per week. I thought you were going to say a night, and I
No,
thought, well, that's
no.
surprising, but per week.
$10 a week you could come and stay.
Wow, I actually bet that was pretty high. That was, I mean, there
Yeah.
probably wasn't a lot of poor people that had that.
Well,
that could do
that's
that.
true.
And that's why the people looked like us. Like
That's-
they had their lace
And their fur.
and their fur, and they
Yeah.
came to be entertained and
Yeah.
get healthy.
Yeah, I'm so. And one of the hotels, it may have not. It may have been. Did this hotel have a swimming pool? Did
I
Linda
believe
tell
it.
us?
Well, no, I think the amusement hotel
amusement had
a swimming pool.
Yeah, and the amusement hotel also had a bowling alley.
Yeah. Now we know why they called it the amusement hotel.
Yeah, because it was kind of
That's probably where the ones with kids stayed.
probably. Yeah, we'll do that. And did you tell me this morning that a carnival came to town?
And not just a carnival, the carnival of all carnivals.
Oh, what would that be?
The Ringling Brothers Circus
Really?
came to Sailor Springs, Illinois
Wow.
in 1889
Isn't that
and
something?
performed there. Ringling Brothers.
That
But,
is
you know, there
cool.
were people, I mean, there was like, I think almost a daily train from Chicago that came down to Sailor Springs. And there was multiple, this part kind of cracked me up a little bit. There was multiple trains that came from Clay City.
Oh, really?
I guess just a really short little ride, because that'd
it's
only
like
be about
6
6 miles. You just get up to speed, and then whoops, time to hit the brakes.
Yeah.
You're there.
It'd be like chugga 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 chugga.
Yeah,
chugga. That's
and
what it'd
we're
be.
here.
Well, yeah, how interesting.
Yeah.
So we've got a few more other things to cover, but right now we are in the year 1879. The Glendale has built. It is a booming metropolis, and then we have some not so friendly gangsters that hear about Sailor Springs, and they come down. Well, you know what gangsters mean? Fire, usually. So we'll discuss a little bit of that and a couple other things when we
be
come
right
back.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Jimmy ordered lumber, doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, Jimmy ordered guns too.
John Lucas,
What?
you better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to to transfer money so your future will look sunny. Call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacy. So we are talking about Sailor Springs, Illinois, and we trailed off with when the mob came to town.
Now,
it did.
It did, the mobsters. So now the mobsters, like Hot Springs, Arkansas, you had a lot of gangsters and mobsters that hid out there. And, of course, they hear about the healing thing. So apparently...
Mobsters want to be healed, too.
Mobsters want to be healed, too. So apparently you have mobsters that are coming in from Chicago and from New York City.
New York City?
You betcha. Yeah, they're coming into our little area. And it's hard to get a lot of information out of people. It seems like this is a part that nobody really talks about.
Yeah, and it was pretty, it's hard to uncover a lot about it. I'd say they were told to hush it up.
Yeah, probably. So apparently, you got 3 hotels there. You've got mobsters that are seeing probably a serious amount of money that's being made off of something that they don't have to purchase. So what do mobsters do? They come down and they take, and so they're in here. Of course, you've got probably different mobs. Everybody wants the spring, so if I can't have it, ain't nobody going to have it. So
I wonder which mobsters it was.
I don't know. I am going to dive into that a little bit more because I had heard a name, but it doesn't go with the time period because now we're talking. It's 1917, and the Glendale beautiful hotel burns down.
Burns
down to the ground. The amusement burns to the ground. All hotels.
Here we have a picture right here.
That is all that's left.
That's all that's left is a couple of chimneys.
Yeah. There was never an investigation. Nobody ever, of course, you're talking the 1917, so you're not people probably didn't really do a lot of talking about what was going on. So then when you're talking your beautiful hotels burned down and you still have the college, we will do a thing about the college. But that really just kind of shuts the Springs down. That was their biggest tourism.
There were still 2 other hotels, but they were very small.
And they burned down too.
Oh, they burned down too.
Everybody burned
the whole thing.
Everybody burned to the ground.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize it was all 3.
I believe all 3 burned to the ground. I think that's what I was told. So that's what happened in Sailor Springs. But the beauty of it is those springs are still there. You can still enjoy. You can still enjoy the springs. A lot of them are. You're going to be surprised when you drive around. Now you have to look. You do have to look for them, but they're there. So let's just go through some of our pictures that we have, Beth, and see what we've got here.
Let's look at this one. This is on Lake Sunflower. So this was a little distance away from Sailor Springs, but this is where everyone took a day trip to, right?
This was north of Sailor Springs. From what I understand, this little lake pond is there. They called it Sunflower Lake, and it was a boathouse.
This is the boathouse.
And it was a handmade lake. They trenched it out by oxen.
Cool.
And somebody owns it now. I don't want to say for sure because I can't remember exactly for sure who owns it, but I believe that lake is still there. Do we have any other pictures? Look at that cute little boathouse.
I know. And I can imagine the ladies just getting on a boat and paddling around.
Oh, yes.
While
that's a more recent picture.
Yeah, so there's the boathouse, but it's not a huge lake, but it was. I think Linda said everyone would take a picnic there for the day. She said there was a small island in the middle of the lake somewhere, which I don't see
right there,
but
where
it
those
might
trees.
be toward the back there where the trees are, and that's where the lovers would take their picnics for the day because no one could intrude upon them.
Yes,
without them seeing them coming from a mile away. I'm sure.
Speaking of lovers, did the Lovers Bridge get put in? Did I send that picture of Lovers Bridge? Let's go through some more and see what we've got here.
Let's see. Some of these I've already shown. Yeah. So we're back to that one. We're just
flipping through. We saw him.
The beautiful that, and then that's the hotels.
Maybe I didn't send the Lovers Bridge.
No, I
you know
think
me and
that's it.
technology. It was a cute
Yeah.
little bridge. They called it Lovers Lane Bridge, and it was
Yeah,
just a
that's
cute
just
little.
our land there, what it
cute
looks
little
like. But I
thing.
do have this here. This is
Look at this.
This is a video of the actual spring. This was taken this week. I recorded it. But it's just, I mean, that one's still flowing, and I
Now,
think this
where-
is the original Cathartic Springs.
That's where we were at. Yes.
And that whole area around there, I think at one time was all concrete, and people could just sit in that little, where it's mud now dripping into it. That would have been concrete, and there would have been a lot of water where they could walk around, almost like a kiddie pool.
Yeah. Well, and that's the picture that we had shown prior. That's the exact spring that was there in that picture that we showed prior.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
how fascinating.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty
So-
cool. So let's just talk a little bit about. So Sunday, Beth sends me a text message and she says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, not too much. Just reading over some notes and stuff." She's like, "Let's go to Sailor Springs and let's take some pictures."
Yeah.
And then we stopped off at a house there in Flora and took a picture of it. Then we go to Sailor Springs.
Yes.
And we're driving around Sailor Springs, and I'm like, okay, I think this was here and that was there. And I was showing Beth where the school was at, and showing her like how the springs are just like in people's backyards. A lot of them are. And so then I called my sister Diane, and I'm like, hey, where does Linda Davidson live? So we're gonna stop off. So Diane was like, she bought the old doctor's house. And it's literally her house.
Dr. Sparling was his name, and he was one of the main doctors in town. And now Linda lives in his home.
And lived
it's a
right
lovely
across the street.
historical home.
Right across the street from where the Glendale was at.
Yes.
So we stop in and we intrude on Linda Davidson, which I think she actually loved it.
Yes,
and,
I think so too.
we
She has
sat
a
in her
lovely home.
Adorable little house. We sat
Well,
in there.
I liked her house, but her dog was so cute. She had the cutest little dog and the sweetest little cat. I'm
Named
like,
Dolly.
Yeah.
Dolly the dog.
Dolly.
And we sat there and we talked to Linda Davidson, and
she told us so much about Sailor Springs. She really knows a lot.
Oh yeah. So we kind of take off, and we traipsed across that field that Beth took the picture of earlier.
Yep.
We walked across that field Sunday,
and I don't know who owns that, so forgive us if that was trespassing. We might not should have said that. What if we get in trouble? I'm so sorry.
People love and adore
I
us.
don't.
Look
I
how
don't-
cute we are.
We didn't.
Are they really going to get mad at us?
Nah, we just took a picture. That's all we did.
We just took a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were traipsing across there, and it was like what we don't do for our stories.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
It was
That
very
was fun,
interesting.
though.
It was fun.
And the spring water was very cold.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
And I can't really, I don't have a good sense of smell, so I didn't really smell a smell to it. But, just standing there on the grounds, you can just feel the history around you. And it really has a little bit solemn kind of.
It is, because Sailor Springs is not what it was.
Yeah, it's kind of got a sad feeling to it. But I mean, if you just stand there, it's almost like you could picture that hotel right there on the hill right next to you, like
It's
that huge
incredibly
hotel.
peaceful. And there was a Sailor Springs Historic Foundation, and but now they're all older. Mary Kinley was part of that, and Mary Ann Gumbel is a part of that, and Linda Davidson was a part of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just, Beth and I talk about this a lot, but come on, young people, we got to love where we're at. There's a young group of people that could step right in and take and it's a 501c3. Everything is already set up for you.
Work on restoring some of that. Bring some tourism
Yes.
to Sailor
Oh.
Springs, and market the water again. People are all into this holistic healing again.
Yes.
Sailor Springs, you got it going on right now. You've got some $1 million water right there under your house.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
I truly believe.
Call it in. Make some money off of it. Bring some people to town.
Honestly, Beth, the hard work's already been done.
Yeah, I mean, this
It's
whole
restored.
thing, what happened in the late 1800s in Sailor Springs, I truly believe it could happen again. If someone wanted to
agreed.
pour some money into it, build a hotel there, advertise it as holistic healing, I think people would come.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
Clean up the area and bring it back, and those springs are... Because I can't remember who Linda said owned those springs. I would hate to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who,
I
can't remember.
I didn't write any
but
of that down.
the lake is still there. It's owned by someone, and we did find out that years ago one of the owners, that apparently the state of Illinois tried to come in the 50s.
One of the owners in the 50s, the state tried really hard to buy that whole area, make it a state park, and they refused. And I'm sure they thought they had the best interest in mind, that they wanted to own it and take care of it. But what they weren't maybe not looking at was the future of when they were gone, who was going to take care of it. And in fact, nobody. It all went, it was burnt. The hotel was burned, and nobody maintained anything else in the on the grounds, and it all went to pot.
Well, yeah, like I said,
but if the state would have had a
if
national park there,
I'm not really
going
to throw out the, I'm not a real fan of politicians, and people who know me know that. But boy, that would have been the one time that it would have been like, that would have been great.
Yeah,
had they
if that was a,
had that
state
been
park.
sold, because there's no telling what we would have been, and Sailor Springs would have been beautiful. And you drive through it now, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a little sad.
Yeah, oh, it's sad.
It's a sad, and I feel bad for all the older people, the Mary Kinleys of the world, and those guys who worked really hard to get that. And you don't even have to be from Sailor Springs to do it. Anybody could go over there and take that on. But I think that, and I feel like Clay County is on a move.
I do too. Things are happening.
I think that Clay County is on a move. I think there are people that are nostalgic like we are, and I really truly believe that there are people that want us to be put back on the map. And all you have to do is mention Sailor Springs to people, and they're like, oh yeah. It's amazing to me that you mentioned Clay County or Flora. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but I think it's time for us to get down to it.
Oh, I forgot to show the picture of the brick sidewalks.
Oh,
later.
yes.
Where was that one?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe I didn't get it on here.
Maybe did you forget? Oh yeah, because there's like a brick sidewalk that just right. It's just literally right there. You're on the grounds.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, okay.
We'll
so maybe that picture's not here. But if you do drive through Sailor Springs, you can find those brick sidewalks. They are still there. There's a lot of grass over them in certain areas, but you can find the brick sidewalks and see that zigzag brick laying pattern.
And if you know, like if you're going through Sailor Springs, and I cannot remember what road it is, but like it's where the cemetery's at. It's the road that goes to Bunker.
No.
What was the name of that? Ah, darn it! Most of the Franklins are buried there, and I can't even think of what it is.
I can't think of it.
But anyway, it's the road that the cemetery's on, and you'll see that brick. And you'll also go by a home that they're remodeling, and they've got a beautiful. They've got theirs roped off, and they've got a lion's
beautiful
head.
spring.
Beautiful spring, flowing graciously. But okay, so speaking of this gets to our rules. Okay?
Oh yeah, let's hit our rules to live by.
Okay, now since we've been mentioning our dreams, and everybody's going to know Beth and I like an open book, but this is the rules to live by. Never laugh at anyone's dreams. People who don't have dreams don't have much.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
I think that is fantastic.
I'm a dreamer. I've always got a big plan.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's like never laugh at someone's dream.
Okay, so for when all of you guys that are living in Sailor Springs, and you were laughing at me about 30 seconds ago when I said bring it all back. Don't you dare laugh at me.
Bring it all back.
Yeah.
Clay City, Louisville.
It's a dream. It could happen.
Yeah, it could absolutely happen. I think it'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I think it would be wonderful too.
Never laugh at anyone's dreams. People who don't have dreams don't have much.
I would agree with that.
I absolutely agree with that. Because if you're not a dreamer, and you don't, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah.
What is
I mean, that's what makes. I mean, thinking forward to other things I have planned, that brings me a lot of joy and makes me excited for life.
Right.
But I think if you didn't have a lot of dreams, like I don't know, it would feel a little mundane, perhaps.
I would think so. I constantly. I was a daydreamer. I was a daydreamer from the time I came out of the womb. Yeah, I've always been thinking about this and thinking about that. And my mind's constantly going. And there are grants out there. They're tough. I mean, they're difficult to get, but you just got to hold tough and get you a core group of people that you love to work with. And I'm telling you, a lot of things could change. That would change Clay County immensely.
It sure would.
And I want to challenge everybody to get your car when it gets nice. Just drive through Sailor Springs and see what we're talking about.
Take a look.
Take a look, because I think you're going to be you're going to have to look for it. A lot of them looks like there's just an old well. A lot of people put wells in there, but you can find those springs. It's very interesting.
Anyway, we're about out of time.
We are out of time.
It was super fun talking about Sailor Springs.
Loved it.
I hope you enjoyed our glamour.
And we will visit Sailor Springs again. We've just touched the surface.
But we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.